Hi everybody, welcome to our Q&A. I'm imagining that we have quite a lot of new people here, so let's sort of tell you how this works and who we are. I'm Mod Matt K, who's Community Manager for Old School. This is Mod Reach, who's one of the developers, and Mod Ash, who's the other half of the development team. We also have a Mod John C, who is hiding behind the camera over there, because the sofa's obviously far too small for us. Who's the QA tester. He'll come and join us a bit later. The way these work is quite simple. You ask us questions, we answer it. Earlier on in the day, I asked people to send me questions via Twitter and through Facebook, so I've got a whole load of them to go through later as well, which are cool. So here we go. You ask us the questions, we will answer them. What's your big first question?
Judging by the state of the current questions, it's going to be GE, isn't it?
Well, I see a question there about the Slayer level of the new Slayer monster and whether it will be 90 plus. I think it will, yeah?
Yeah?
Yep.
I think we planned on that.
Did we decide what number it was? Or
we talked about 93.
93.
I think the biggest concern at the moment is what is the next Slayer monster?
Yes, and we're open to suggestions about that as well, so feel free to send them.
Yeah.
We do have graphics for lizard men, but maybe you'd like something that doesn't look like those.
Right, so I should say first actually have to excuse me because I've got a horrible cold. Anybody who watched the stream last night heard me all the way through that, so if I start sneezing and coughing...
I think it's Dan who's going to have to excuse you.
Yes. Okay, so GE, that's something you were spamming for ages. For those of you who read the dev blog at the beginning of the year, we did talk about a solution for trade problems. The trade problems you seem to be having are finding people to trade with and getting that trade done and finding the right stuff to trade. The solution for that could be GE, but it doesn't have to be the GE. The idea being, if you wanted the GE in place, we can make changes to it so it doesn't have to get implemented as it was first time around. For example, we'd quite like to stick in a tax on anything that happens to drive some of the cash out of the game as well. Equally, we don't just have to do a GE. We could do an auction house without any of the price controls on it. We could do my favourite, which is a lot of work, is is the player-owned shops, where you use your construction skill to create a shop. And the higher your construction skill, the more items you could sell, that sort of thing, which I think would be really quite cool. But the solution is what you guys want. We will have a conversation about it. It's not going to happen now because we've got a lot of wilderness work still to do. Once we're on top of that, we'll have to sit down, have a think, and see if that's the next big thing we need to look at. But it's something we want to get resolved in before June, certainly.
If I may, regarding how it could be different from the GE, there's a lot of people who have said they like trading with people and having to meet them face to face to do the trade in person, and how it makes the game feel a lot more personal than the completely anonymous GE, where you stick items into a hole and the items come out of a hole, and you never really deal with people at all. If that's something that's important to you, we'd like to be able to give you a trading solution that helps with that, rather than saying we have to stick to the GE as it was in 2007.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people, I mean, I see in the Twitch stream already, some people saying yes, some people saying no, they don't want GE. So, the final result will be polled to you guys, and you can have your say then. So nothing's going to happen without 75% of the people voting for it to happen anyway. So that is going to happen. Right, any more questions you want to answer, guys?
Any more news on Clan Wars is a popular one right there right now. I think you, being the father of the last Clan Wars.
I did write the last Clan Wars, not to my own design, admittedly, but I put the thing together. We are now getting the kind of engine support that will let us implement it as it was in 2007, possibly as it was in 2009. I think I could do that version even, and I like that version a lot better. I spent night after night sitting in TeamSpeak channels talking to the Orange Ownage clan back then, getting the design brief effectively dictated to me. They even sent menu layouts. It was great. I could just sit back, take the ideas in, and then do some programming, and everyone thought it was great content. So yeah, I'd like to produce that version if we can. Now, at the moment, as you know, we've been prioritising the wilderness because a lot of PvP enthusiasts feel that needs some love. After we've done that, we'll look at and see what the next big thing should be. Might be Clan Wars, might be time to move on to the trading solution. Maybe we'll be able to do two at once. I don't know, it's best not to queue up too many big things at once.
Yeah. Cool. Somebody asked something that I wanted to answer. I can't remember what it was now. Should we do free to play right at the beginning, because we're going to get asked it all the way through.
Yeah.
Free to play. Okay. We mentioned this. None of this is a secret at all. So I hope most of you have heard this already. Free to play. Should free to play come out, if it came out today, what you'd expect to see is an increase in the amount of bots, an increase in the amount of hijacking, increase in the amount of scamming, an increase in the amount of other bad things that happen on the internet. We need to be in a position to be able to protect all of you guys from these things. We need a bot solution in place, we need a hijacking solution in place, we need teams in place to protect some of our younger players. Until those are solved and we've got those in place, then we can't offer free to play. When we get to that stage, we will then talk more about free to play, what that means, what that is, and then we can have a conversation then, but we've got to get to that stage first. Which brings us nicely on to the next question, which I'm sure a lot of you will ask, which will be about what's happening with the bot stuff. We mentioned a little while ago that we were working on some new systems, some new technology to get into game to make bots less of an issue for you guys. We're still working on it. We've had the second iteration of the technology now made. We're going to test that, I think it's next week, end of next week. We'll be testing that end of next week, and depending on that test goes, depends on what happens from there. But once we have a working, tested version, we will let you know what's happening. But we are on it, and things are happening, so fingers crossed it will all go to plan. There's those two big questions out of the way.
Cool.
I'm seeing a lovely question about from a guy called Hero, loads of numbers at the end of his name, Brassica Prime Godsword. We could have a cabbage at the end of a Godsword as a hilt. I'm not actually what you'd want the special to be, other than just swarming a load of cabbages. But I like the idea, actually. Brassica Prime Godsword. There's been loads of talk over the years of adding another one, and when we added Nex, people were concerned that it would be a Nex or Zaros Godsword, so...
Yeah, so RS3 got a whole new dungeon with a new for their other god, and it's Zaros, and we get Brassica Prime.
Yeah, I mean, why not? John doesn't look too pleased over there. No, actually, no, he's on side of it, there you go.
Well, maybe a special attack could turn all your opponent's food into cabbage.
I like that. That's good.
Could be
There you
useful.
go.
Oh, okay.
I did that on a test stream.
Yeah.
Test Dan's about to get another
Cabbage bomb
another
spec.
hack.
Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
200 metres. There we go. Dragon Masks as clue rewards? No, there we go, answers that one.
Now, Cow Mask, that's another story altogether.
Yes. Good old Calmas.
What else we got?
Oh,
Oh, go on, man. You guys are spamming.
It's going very
Heaven.
quickly.
Saw a question up there about whether we could have a way of replaying quests, going back and doing them again from the beginning to relive the story. The difficulty about that is all those quests have variables remembering your progress, and at the end of the quest, the variable goes to say it's complete and you get access to all the rewards. Now, if we try and set you back to the beginning of the quest, as if you'd never done it at all, but you've still got the rewards, then you do the quest again and get the rewards again, and we end up either trying to find a really fiddly way of remembering that you've not done a quest but you had at some point done the quest, and therefore not to keep rewarding you, which involves overriding a lot of scripts in a lot of individual quests to stop the rewards being given twice. Or we try and program the quests to work on two tracker variables, one of which is the one that remembers you did it and got the rewards, the other is a separate one. Either way, that's a large amount of work, especially given how many quests there are in the game. And we could spend weeks doing that, a lot of weeks doing that. I think there might be more interesting things or more important things you'd like us to do with that amount of time. Like, I think that would take a lot longer than Clan Wars, and there's a lot less demand for it.
Absolutely. Pest control. A lot of people asking for the pre-hour version pest control. Now, if I remember rightly there, that was somewhat generous with the XP, I think.
It was that. In fact, there were people being described as PC products who'd got themselves all the way to the top ends of combat and never really done very much combat because they got it all from pest control.
Those people with like 10 Slayer and 99 combats. But if I remember rightly, that's a system where you'd go in and then you'd have about 4 or 5 seconds to get your zeal before the game was over.
Yeah,
which
no shields.
Which left a lot of people out of luck.
Yes.
Because unless you were fully packed out in all the best gear available to you and were a billionaire, you couldn't really get the gear that was strong enough to give you the zeal. So that's not the best game design, really.
Plus, the game became a matter of a whole elite group of top-end players finding a nice quiet world and trying to play pest control as quickly as possible before the noobs turned up to ruin it for them, which is a rather antisocial way of having an online role-playing game, to be honest.
Yeah.
That is true. Okay, somebody else asking for new rewards for Grace's shop.
Had some ideas for that.
Go for it.
One of the ideas that we've been bouncing around is an upgraded form of the energy potion. Now, at the moment, you've got super energy potions that just restore some run energy. We've got the engine support these days, so we could make a potion that restores some run energy now, but makes the rest of your energy regenerate over time more quickly than it would otherwise. So we can write that kind of thing, which we couldn't earlier. Now, we don't want to devalue the existing potions. We don't want to make that bit of herb lore redundant. So what we could do is let you buy an ingredient from Grace, from her shop, using Marks of Grace, and add it to upgrade the existing potion, so that it becomes this new thing. And then you've got something that's useful, but the old item remains valuable as well. Also, if we made it tradable, then agility would suddenly become a potentially money-making skill, which I think it hasn't been in the same way before.
Yeah.
There's other things we could do with potions and upgrades from Grace's shop. We're aware, though, that if we start letting you add stuff to an existing potion, we're going to have to update the herbalist and people like that to convert your potions from 4 dose back to 3 dose. That's a lot more fiddly than going from 3 dose to 4 dose, because potentially they have to generate vials from somewhere. Alternatively, we just restrict it so it works only with the vials that you've got in your inventory, which is different from RS3, but I think you'd be okay with it since we don't really have the game knowing the market value of a vial to do it fairly. So that'll be quite a bit of work, but we'd be up for it.
What about it unlocking shortcuts? Because I've seen that mentioned a fair few times.
Yes, I think you had some ideas for shortcuts for that.
I don't recall.
Or maybe
now.
it was him.
I don't believe it was me. No, John's over there. There you go.
Yeah, there was a forum thread about shortcuts that could be unlocked by paying Marks of Grace, either as a one-off lump sum to unlock it, in which case it would be quite expensive, or we could do it cheaply using Marks of Grace in the same way that the Shanty Pass takes a few coins. Either is possible. I think the big lump sum would be more convenient for you. Ideas included a shortcut through a little crevice that gets you through the Heroes Guild basement to the Fountain of Heroes more easily. Another idea was to be able to climb up Waterbirth Island to get to Askeladdon's little hill without directly from the boat. We can do quite a lot of things like that. Agility shortcuts take a fair bit of mapping, but they're very powerful gameplay when you got them.
Cool. A couple of people talking about Legacy. We'll cross that bridge now as well. Legacy mode, I'm sure you all know what it is. There was a big news post about it on RS3 last week. Was it last
Friday.
week? Friday, yeah. So a week ago. Some people have come to us saying, you know, what's going to happen with 07 and Legacy. As far as we're concerned, nothing's going to happen. You're still going to get everything that we've promised you, so the Wilderness update and us a lot working on it. And we'll continue to push for everything that we can to make the game the best it can be. As far as how we personally feel it's going to affect the player base, I mean, we'll probably see a few people go from Old School to RS3, but, you know, although a lot of you came to Old School because of the combat system, there's so much more about it now than just the combat system. I don't think we're going to see any drop in players that anyone's going to notice, and it's going to continue being strong as it has been. I mean, posted it on, I think it was a Reddit post earlier today. Well, that reminds us, Reddit Q&A, AMA at 8 PM tonight, don't forget. Yeah, I posted it on a Reddit post. Was it? No, it was on Zybez I posted it. In December, we had 1 day of negative growth in Old School, which means we grew every single day throughout November, except for 1 day, and that is a huge success for Old School, because it actually shows that we are increasing in members and we are getting a stronger community than we have been. It's continuing that way as well. So we're in a really strong place, and we're not worried at all about how it's going. So Legacy mode will be cool, but I think you guys will continue enjoying Old School as you always have been. There we go, that's Legacy mode.
It's also rather gratifying that the people who contacted me worrying about Legacy mode are all people worrying that Old School will somehow die out as a result of it. And frankly, if people are worried about that kind of thing, then they're clearly people who are staying. And if that's how so many people feel, we're probably golden.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, any more
I
questions?
see a lot of people talking about chaotics, and most specifically the longsword and the maul. Obviously, that came from most recent, well, not most recent, engineering skill in an RS3 skill. And those were very overpowered. I think a lot of that devalued whips, a lot of dragon equipment, and generally made farming specific creatures too easy. So I don't think we're ever going to see chaotics, especially in the same way they were before, at least. And we have no real way of introducing them. So I'll put chaotics to bed, I think.
Absolutely. Inferno pickaxe or something a bit better than a rune pickaxe. I reckon putting a dragon pickaxe in might be a better idea.
I reckon we should poll it. In fact, I reckon we have polled it. I think it passed. I think I even tried designing it.
Yeah, I think you might.
I don't think my design was very good.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. We need to readdress that one, because I could just colour I did very cheaply. Just I googled pickaxe to see what does a pickaxe actually look like. And it looks like every pickaxe we currently have in RuneScape, which means I just changed the pickaxe head to be red, which means it looks awful as a dragon pickaxe. So the dragon pickaxe that RS3 originally got when it was introduced looked quite good. I'm trying to replicate not that one, but a new model very similar to that style, being that it was new, it didn't look the same as every other pickaxe. We're still working on that, and I don't think these guys liked my original design. It was terrible. So we'll go back to the drawing board with that one. Yeah, well that's dragon though, isn't it?
Right. So lava dragon, does it drop a new item?
Yeah, lava dragon bones.
Yes, there we go.
Sorted.
Special thing about the lava dragon bones is if you bury them in the what will now be called the lava dragon isle, I'm sure, you get 3 times the XP for them. So fair XP.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really?
And if you've got the barbarian boost on you already from the barbarian skills, then you'll be getting a lot more XP than you normally would. A total of 5 times.
Well, yes, worth
Might
killing
make
a
it
few
a
of
bit more useful.
them.
I'm seeing people say corporal beast. Again, the closest we've got to a corporal beast model is a beige Jad so far. It doesn't look very good. People seem willing to accept it. I don't particularly want to be the one to model it and put my name next to it and give it to you, because it does look damn awful. And as much as I've been modelling recently, I'm not confident that I can model an existing corporal beast. So we're either relying on a new graphics artist to do it for us, or some form of conversion between the RS3 models in making it into an old school model that we can then play around with. The former is more likely. I'm not seeing much scope for the latter. But corporal beast, I'm not sure when are we planning to do a PVM update this year?
Don't know.
Because that would obviously have to come with a PVM update for the year. So.
Well, given that we've already got 2 boss monsters of our Slayer monsters to do, I think we're doing quite well for bosses already for this part of the year.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing any particular large PVM happening anytime soon, although that could change.
Solid PvP, I think it was, had a question about getting bigger Mithril Dragon tasks. The answer is totally, we've got it on the wish list.
Awesome.
Somebody keeps asking, keeps shouting at me through the thingy, saying when I mentioned about taking a cut from the GE, should the GE ever go in game, taking some money out of it, would it be done as a fixed fee or a percentage? That is a discussion that we can all have should we go down that route. We don't need to worry about it right now. If you guys have got preferences when we have a discussion, bring them up.
And we're still quite a long way from getting the engine support to actually deliver any of these solutions that we're discussing, so we've got plenty of time to discuss exactly what we'd like first.
And the end result for anything like this is got to be what's right for you guys, and you guys are going to be part of that discussion. So we don't have the answers, you guys do, effectively. There we go.
Eero keeps asking about how the progress on the Tazar shields that's coming out with the Wilderness. If people don't know, the reason the Tazar shields actually exist, as per the recent Wilderness devlog and poll, is because Eero tweeted me on Twitter asking me to just change the Tazar melee shield to blue to see what it looked like. I did so, and then I also made a green one because it looked sort of like a major range version. Just as an update for him, those are done. I've even got the pieces ready. I've even got the forgery ready with many Lord of the Rings references. That's being QA'd almost being QA'd by John now, actually, so they're fine.
Yeah.
Gangster Bro has a question about Clan Wars. If we were to release Clan Wars, we would not put it in the wilderness like was done in 2007 and 8. We're not occupying a whole chunk of the middle of the wilderness just to put that in there. I don't think it was very well received at the time. Of course, the wilderness didn't do PvP at that time, so it didn't really make a lot of difference. But now we've actually got a wilderness where people can fight each other. We don't want to go occupying a whole lump of it with a pointless arena that doesn't need to be there.
Right, shall we go through some of these questions I got from Twitter?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I asked you guys for questions to tweet me, and I got a whole load here, so I'm going to go through them all. And there's some pretty good ones actually this week. Not saying there's not normally good ones, but some unique ones. Neil could be quite happy because he's been spamming this chat trying to get his questions answered, so I've got a couple of them here for you already. First one being, could you add an option where you poison your target? Hang on, I'll read this again. Could you add an option when you poison your target stating that you've poisoned it so you can switch back to your main weapon faster?
He's been asking me a lot that a lot recently as well, actually.
Maybe he thinks if he asks enough people enough times, it will become the most important question.
Should we not answer it then?
My concern is that's never happened before, and I don't believe it's ever happened. RS3 ever implemented it either. So knowing when your opponent is poisoned kind of takes away from the whole do I need to switch, do I need to stay, sort of whole unpredictable combat settings. But I don't know how anybody else feels.
You've got a fair point there, to be honest with you.
Well, from a tech point of view, we could find some animation to play on them, maybe a big green splash coming off them, which would work for players and also for monsters. But the question is whether we'd want to do it or whether you'd want us to do it. Doesn't sound like that would be a yes at the moment.
I mean, of course, if enough people are concerned about it and really want it, then we can obviously poll it and let the entire community decide. But being that people are very touchy about interfering with combat, allowing the unpredictability of combat to become predictable isn't really, I imagine, what people want.
Cool. There's another one from Nilk here as well. He wants the new Barrows boss to be added. Acrisai. Yes. Yeah. Have some decent uses for the Barrows equipment. New stat effects, which I think we polled ages ago, didn't we? New item
We
effects
did,
for them.
although what we were dealing with at the time was the God Wars dungeon rather than an actual expansion to Barrows itself.
Yeah.
Could be that it would be better received if it were in Barrows itself rather than elsewhere.
Yeah.
I'd like to add another one to Barrows, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
Barrows is pretty cool.
Yeah, the Barrows
Yeah.
system.
Yeah. Kilgore755 asks, could clan chats have been more ranks?
The ranks that exist at the moment are built into the game engine. I don't think we can manipulate it to get more without going to that team. That said, there seems to be space at their end for there to be more ranks. At the moment they're using something like 0 to 7 and their scale goes to 127.
Wow.
So they could list every rank under the sun and then some. Just bear in mind that since our chat channels are linked to the RS3 game, what we get, they have to get because they're kind of coming off the same code.
Yeah, there you go, make an issue, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so potentially we'd be hung up on whether they are willing to have it.
Cool.
you can do with that many ranks anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really quite a lot of ranks already.
Yeah.
Blair Emberg says, if you could add anything you wanted to add, what would you add? I can guess yours.
More Ankus.
It's a toss-up between Bounty Hunter and Corporal Beast.
Or Ankus.
Or just more Ankus. DK's pets comes from John over there. It's like mini versions of the existing DKs.
Bank tabs.
Bank tabs, there you go. So it's all things that everybody else is basically wanting.
Yeah, oh man, I want a clan system, but better than clan citadels.
You're asking for a moon on a stick.
Yeah, I know, I did know that. That
Yeah.
or player-owned shops.
A nice website-based login thing where you can log in to create your clan, register your clan, add people, have some text that your clan members can read on your clan's private little web page within the RuneScape site using their RuneScape login.
I wouldn't want it on the website, I want it in-game. So they have
Even
forums
better.
built into games, you never have to leave the game.
And also you can vote in polls from inside the game. I'd like
Yeah,
that.
that'd be great. There's loads of stuff we'd like.
We've been asking for some of this stuff.
Loads of stuff. Okay, that was probably my favourite question we got today. Nitro Ownage, or Nitronage, I guess it's supposed to read Nitro Ownage, says, this might be a weird thing to ask, but do you think of changing random events to prevent botting? Now, some of them do, don't they? From what I understand from the bot team.
I think they're under the impression that bots are semi-effective. A lot of that is questionable, and a lot of people obviously disagree with it.
There's different versions of different bots that are, some of which are better at others. There's things we can randomise, and there's things we do randomise week by week to force bot writers to spend a little time re-updating themselves every time. I won't go into details if you excuse me. There's more things we can try randomising about them. In terms of reprogramming them all every week, that's suddenly a rather a lot more work, both for us programming it and for John testing it. So that would kind of impact on our ability to write anything else for you. But yeah, we are looking at things that we can shuffle just to keep the bots a little bit more hoppy than otherwise.
Cool. This is probably my next favourite question. Crookie123 asks, as Old School reaches its first birthday, did you ever expect it to be as successful and popular as it is right now?
Frankly, no.
No. We
I
hoped.
mean, when the email originally went round from... Because I've been campaigning for Old School for years, just like, well, an old version, 2006 actually, as like many of you actually, and I was even doing it internally on our own internal forum systems, and when I put it up a year before Old School, I remember people replying going, "Oh, that would never work, that's a bad idea, what you want about?" To which, when we obviously did Old School, and 6 months in, I then replied going, "Is it such a bad idea now?" Obviously, yeah, I did. I got a few people reply who are quite snarky, but 6 months down the line, when I was writing that, I didn't expect to be writing it at that point, and obviously, I don't think any of us expected to see it at all. When the email was sent originally saying Old School's coming back, or log into the Old School version of the game that we've just that mod fill managed to get reanimated again for us. We obviously, all of us pretty much thought it would be a short-term project. A year in, or nearly a year in, I don't think any of us could have imagined sitting here hiring, more people for the team.
Yeah.
Even being committed full-time to it and being promoted up into it, so yeah.
They told me that, yes, I could go on Old School if I wanted to, but I should bear in mind that I'd be expected to function as a full member of the other team all at the same time, and they'd bring me back to maybe do a big project like World Event 2. Obviously, nothing like that ever happened, and I'm very happy where I am, thanks.
Yes, I don't think I've met anybody who thought it would last longer than 6 months.
No.
And it's a testament, I suppose, to you guys that you've stuck with it, you've played it, you've enjoyed it, and we're all working together to make it a great game, and it's clearly working.
And
so.
we're really quite grateful to you for making us have a use, making us useful.
Making us
doing
have a use.
Yeah.
We're it's great fun. It is, and we love it. And if you guys love it, then it's brilliant. That's fantastic. Okay, so what else we got? John something or other last name. Would it be possible to see the old NPC models you guys dug up and used again, or a command toggle to see them versus current models?
Now, we can't do a toggle that makes them appear differently to different people based on their preferences. I know that happens on some private servers, but the RuneScape game engine itself was not written to support anything quite that elaborate. So we're not going to be able to offer you that, not without a lot more engine work than I think we're going to get anytime soon. However, we can reintroduce them into the game. Anyone else care to comment?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're where you'd like them.
Yeah. Wait and see. All right, okay. Martin Hisseth says, any plans on adding a broadcasting message worldwide when somebody achieves a milestone?
Depends what the milestone is. See, if it's stuff that people are doing, like getting a 99 or maxing all skills, certainly getting a 99, there's kind of enough of that going on that it might get really spammy if we force everyone to get a message about it. Plus, we'd have to get engine support for that. However, for particularly important things, like our weekly live stream, we are now able to send you all a message manually. So if there was something of major significance, we can in theory do that, but we don't want to go spamming you. Even the first time we broadcast to say there was going to be a live stream, one of the first things that turned up on the forum thread was, can we have a toggle to make them go away again? And frankly, if people are wanting toggles to turn things off, it means we shouldn't keep bashing them.
Absolutely. Kid I'm Slaying says, could we buy the ability to be assigned JAD tasks with Slayer points?
I like that idea. I'm cool with that.
Yes.
Yes, easy peasy.
Not a small job, but so unlike what he just said, but we could do it.
Sweet, sweet. RS Trainer Luke says, Matt, question. Can I have that goblin head as my forum picture? Pretty please. No, it's mine.
Get your own.
Get your own.
You'd have to go into RS3 to get it anyway.
Yes. The Little Mower asks you a question. It says, what's the latest on the bounty hunter stuff?
That's still ongoing. There's a few questions on screen right now actually mentioning Bounty Hunter. That's still ongoing between myself and Mod Oliver, who's actually part of the RS3 team, who's keen to get this going in Old School, mainly. I don't really have anything to talk about right now. If people want the existing Bounty Hunter, we can obviously go ahead with the existing Bounty Hunter. We won't put it in the wilderness, especially a brand new wilderness we're about to give you.
It really is quite big, that.
Yeah, otherwise we'd be like, hey, look, it's a new wilderness. Hey, we've just taken away half of it again.
Yeah.
There's no news right now, although I am definitely on side with something like Bounty Hunters. All the people shouting it, I definitely know. I did say a minute ago that is one of the two things I would most love to introduce to our school if I could just introduce anything, and I will do Bounty Hunter when I get the chance. So, there's no new news yet, but keep an eye out.
Squeaky Doggy asks,
I like that name.
Nice.
yeah, asks, can you let Grace host a live stream? For those who don't know who Grace is my dog, who's a champion agility dog, hence why you have marks of Grace in game. And if anyone's watched my streams, you'll hear her barking in the background as anything happens, falls off the wall, or walks past the front window. That'd be hilarious, wouldn't it?
Mm.
I might see if I wonder if I get permission to bring her in here and just sit her on the sofa for an hour. It's like,
You know in the Rogue's Den, where next to Grace is a small dog called Mark? Well, Grace, the dog, looks like Mark, the dog of Grace. It's getting quite hard to pronounce the words if we keep talking about Marks of Grace and Mark, the dog of Grace, and Grace's dog Mark, etc.
I've never bothered to question why it's like that, except now that you've told me, I'm
Yeah.
still confused.
It's his dog.
Yeah, I think we all are.
yeah. Okay, so Zeldon OSRS asks, with the year anniversary of Old School approaching, are there any planned changes in membership costs? About a year ago, we did say that for the first year of Old School, we'll happily keep the membership costs the way they are. No discussion has taken place to change that at all. As far as I'm aware, no discussion is likely to take place anytime soon. So things are as they are for the moment. That's that one. So that's everything that came through Twitter. All the good ones that came through Twitter anyway. Some which weren't quite so good. A few from Facebook as well. Sage Tyler asks, is there a new skill possible? Sailing? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Sailing confirmed.
We want to
sorted.
do sailing. That'd be
Yeah.
fantastic.
I keep telling you this is not a joke.
Yeah. In fact,
Sailing.
going back to that question by that other guy about what we put in game, sailing. That's what I want to put in game if I put anything in game.
I'm convinced every week that we say this, people think this is a joke and will be very surprised when they find out it's not.
Yeah.
So,
Jason Yan asks, will we have a new use for the Torstal herb?
I think he wants overloads by the sounds of it.
There's been various herb lore based suggestions about new potions that could be upgraded, etc. We're aware that Torstall could maybe do with a bit more usage. Maybe it could be used for one of those. Do let us know what you think. We'll be happy to go with whatever direction you've got in mind, really.
Yeah. The final one, Thomas Francis says, tool belts, question mark. Only bronze though for convenience.
Not a very old school thing, is the tool belt.
No. It's only just recently been updated in RS3.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of work, and it's really not in the spirit of the old school game in the way that it maybe could be. On the other hand, if it was something everyone wanted, then sure, we'd do it. But I'm not thinking it would pass the way things are at the moment.
There's a question from Eero. That's a good one for you.
Will you, Mod Reach and Ash, as Mad K has his pet dog in game, will you introduce your pets like your lizard?
You have a pet in game already, don't you?
Okay. What Eero means by that is I have a bearded dragon as a pet, and I think I showed it on Twitter once because somebody wanted to see it. It is a lizard, but it's called a bearded dragon. I guess I could add it to the game. It's called Mac. That's about it. There's he's not really particularly interesting, as everybody points out when they come around to see him. He is just a very expensive rock because he just sits still.
Which is a shame, because in RuneScape you can get a free one of those.
Yeah. We seem to be in the habit of adding, people of interest or people close to us to game. Obviously, you've got Grace and I've got Neve. And I guess I could add the dragon if I wanted to. Actually, didn't you say you've got an NPC near a boat or something?
I did name Kathy Corcat, the player, the NPC who stands near a boat near the Piscatorius fishing colony, taking you back and forth up that coastline. She's named after a player I knew back in the day.
Yeah, so I guess I could add a lizard called Mac to the game. I'll just rename some of the desert lizards, I guess.
What's it called now?
I don't know, I just like the name.
Thought he was called Beardy.
Beardy the bearded dragon.
Someone made a joke about Big Mac up there.
Big, he is quite large.
How old?
About a year and a half old, so they get quite big at that age. We've gone pretty. I'm just giving trivia now about reptiles. I used to have a snake as well, so.
Who wants to answer the question about full screen?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Yeah. So, to do full screen back in 2008 or whatever it was, we got half the content team. That's half of all the content developers in Jagex going through all the interfaces in game. There's some 100 of them, checking each one in turn to make sure it handled potentially being resized or appearing in a dynamic place, and remaking the interfaces on a case-by-case basis whenever there was a problem. It took months. This was going on for months and months, even long before full screen actually came out. At the same time, we'd got most of the graphics team available to make new assets for us when we needed them to do this job. And we'd got 4 game engine developers, I think, one of whom was, of course, the famous Andrew himself, and 3 colleagues, all working on making the client handle being different sizes, making the modal full screen version, then making the non-modal resizable version that was a lot more popular. We don't have that level of support. You got the 2 of us, we're not going to be able to do all that interface work in the same way that the team did back then. And we'd also got the whole QA team back then checking all this stuff. We've got 1 QA tester, and at the moment, no artist, although we've been trying to work on that. So I'm afraid full screen is just not something we can give you, not anytime soon at all.
Cool. So a few people mentioning PvP worlds and how they're ruining wilderness, being spammed a fair bit. Why we can't just take them out, or we need a poll obviously to take them out should we want to. But there's not a great call for it, I'm afraid. There's a few people who saying that it's bad for the wilderness. I think we need to wait for the wilderness rejuvenation project first, see how that impacts it. But I don't think it would be a solution to the wilderness being quiet. I think it's a different type of gameplay altogether, different type of PvP.
Bear in mind that if the PvP worlds are drawing people away from the wilderness, that suggests that people actually want to use the PvP worlds for something. So deleting them just so that those people have no choice but to go back to the wilderness doesn't seem like a big crowd pleaser.
No.
That too.
I think as SparkMac just pointed out, actually, he's quite correct. PvP worlds aren't the problem, there's just not enough activity in the wilderness to bring people to it, which is the whole idea of the rejuvenation. I know he's quite big on wanting a targeting system or bounty hunter, which we've already covered, so getting rid of PvP worlds is not the way forward.
That is true. Any more questions we got?
A player called Hero54123 was asking whether it's possible to get an overseas internship. I'm afraid the old school team is really only interested in employing people who can be kind of in the office working with us, talking to you guys on this sofa or a bigger sofa.
Yes.
We need a bigger sofa.
We are getting a bigger sofa.
Excellent.
Oh, that's
Yes.
news. There you go.
Yeah, then you can see all of us at once. So I'm afraid we're not really looking to have somebody who's kind of not there alongside us, especially as we should be able to find someone with the graphics skill set in Britain.
Yeah. I mean, the strength of the old school team is the fact that we sit around a desk and we talk all day, every day. In fact, we annoy the teams around behind us because we're constantly talking.
Yep.
But the communication we have with us, or amongst us, means that we could be sort of very focused and very. We know exactly what we want to do, and that sort of reflects from what you guys want us to do as well. So this whole communication thing is incredibly strong, and that's why we're doing what you want us to do, and that's why old school's success. So we don't want to suddenly have satellite groups out of initial shouting range where it will just make the communication not as good, then mistakes will happen, and then the vision of what old school is, or the community's vision of what old school should be, will then get lost and distorted, and it just won't be as good as it would be. I think that makes sense.
Certainly, it helps our communication massively that when you guys ask a question, well, we're all here and we can give you an answer. If we had to confer with somebody who might be online later that evening to check an email and give us their opinion, it's nowhere near the same.
Can you add Justin Bieber's haircut to RS07? Is
No.
that the one before or after he was arrested? Ooh.
No is the answer to that one. Dragon Defender's coming up a lot. Yes, we can easily do Dragon Defender. We're not going to recolour an existing Defender to be red. We'd like to give you the either old model or a new model.
It's funny that I had a player actually tweet me earlier today saying, could you give us the option of choosing the Dragon Defender with an old model or with a new model? It's just how many options do you guys want in the end?
Eventually we're going to have a toggle full of toggles, because we're going to have that many toggles. You just can't toggle all the toggles at once.
Give you some kind of... give you a duffel coat, they've got toggles.
I'm going to swap out and let John come in, so you can talk to John for a bit, because otherwise he's hiding. So.
Here comes John.
Come on, John.
Someone, I think it was Zeldin actually said, please tell us about the super secret project you're working on. Super secret project is super secret. Have fun. I've seen more Dragon Defenders come up now, actually.
Yeah, had a player suggest that for making it, I think it was James, he suggested that we could take the Dark Dagger from Legends Quest and recolour that to make a Dragon Defender.
I did look at that model, actually. It did look a lot like it.
It's an interesting looking model.
I think the one I chose was the Blade of the Brine Saber. Scaled it down ever so slightly, because it had the sort of ridges that the Dragon Defender originally had, but it didn't quite work. Yeah, I had to go at making one, but I didn't really like how it came out, so I scrapped that one.
You're going to have to reposition the model, of course, because at the moment all those models go in your right. This is my right hand, in your right hand, and we need it to go on the left hand, but we can probably achieve that with some labelling change.
Yeah, easily.
Marvellous.
We were talking about milestone capes. Are we referring to every having all stats above 90, 80, 70?
That's what I thought a milestone cape
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, I guess. Obviously, we'd then be loading the game full of capes, and at that point, I think people would then request a max cape or a comp cape after that, because obviously, if you have all stats above 90, why would you not want a cape for all 99s?
They're saying that max capes are now popping up.
Yeah, max cape's coming up still right there.
There is a forum thread going in feedback that I've been tracking where the feedback is mixed. I think if we were to offer one, it would be with no additional extra stat bonuses that a trim skill cape doesn't offer, because otherwise you have to turn around and say to anyone that wants to play a kill, you need max skills to have max stats. That's just not fair.
Also, you'd have to accept it without a decent emote as well. So,
Or model, actually.
I think the model I reckon I can pull off, or if by the time we consider it, graphics artists could probably pull off. You'd probably only be having it for vanity reasons more than the ego of showing off an awesome emote.
There's a player called Af Corday who was asking whether we could have the change hand or shoe option added to Ursa in Relica. I think Ursa already does have the shoe thing. In fact, I think I did a bug fix to it one time. So that's kind of already covered. We don't have a lot of choice of models for your wrist guards at the moment. I think, in fact, the choices are you've got wrist guards or you haven't got wrist guards. We could make more. We've probably got the graphics for the more interesting bracelets that were added to the game after 2007. They were made available in Keldagrim, I think, from one of the dwarves there. We could probably do that kind of thing, although gotta say they're rather hard to see at the best of times, so I wasn't expecting to spend a lot of time on it.
There's a few comments asking for a double XP weekend. Modreach actually suggested that we do a half XP weekend. So you can spend longer doing the skills that you love. I'm quite for that.
Ooh, mining, you can do some mining.
Yeah,
I don't
take
mind.
you twice as long.
I do not mind. We're going to delete mining.
Really?
Yeah.
I will make it happen.
I'm also seeing Verto1 and B7R asking about a high definition or HD or high detail update for the game. Again, when we did that in 08, what was going on there was that the graphics team remodelled every model in RuneScape to add textures and to change the poly count up a bit and things like that. It took the whole graphics team to do that kind of work. In fact, I think they even had to hire some outside agencies to produce models for us. and then they had to spend even more time remaking the things they got from those agencies. But that's another story. We can't go there. I'm sorry, but we don't have the engine staffing and we don't have the graphics staffing, so we can't do HD.
I just saw a really good question that Matt could actually answer quickly from Robin Hood RS or 07, I think his name was. It says, what's the status of getting Old School to work on Facebook?
The status of getting Old School to work. I don't know if come around here.
Yeah, actually, if you come over, people might hear you. So it's a pretty good question.
Okay, so Facebook Old School. There is the ability on Facebook to embed web pages in Facebook, and so theoretically we could have it so you could go to Facebook, you could play Old School through Facebook. I haven't tried it, I haven't tested it, I don't know if it's doable, I don't know if Java's going to have a hissy fit and decide that's not what it wants to do and turn the internet off or something.
Which is likely.
Which is quite likely knowing how Java works. Well, one day I'll probably look at it, but I don't think it's a huge thing to be, or a high priority certainly for everybody at the moment to get it working on Facebook. But it's doable. It would be fun to try. Should I ever get 5 minutes to myself to do it? That'd be quite cool. Yes, there we go. I'll go now.
Yeah.
Sort of a rather nice question about quick prayer. I'm afraid I didn't see who asked it, but the question was, when you turn on quick prayer and then turn it off again, currently it turns off all your prayers. And the player was asking, Neilk, yeah, hello Neilk, was asking whether we could make it just turn off the quick prayers and leave your other prayers on. The answer is I could have done that, and I even thought about whether I should do it. But there's a lot of people who liked that with quick prayer you could just click the button twice, it turned off your prayers, without you having to go through them manually. So there's some people who actually would prefer it to be the way it is. The other thing you're describing is possible, but we've got it like this for a reason, sorry.
I've seen gravestones pop up a few times.
Yeah.
I'm personally very against the idea of gravestones. I'm of the belief and impression that every player, items need to leave the game, and obviously when you've got gravestones with the ability to bless and then come back an hour later to pick up your stuff, no one's really risking anything. It sort of devalues items, and gravestones have traditionally come with a wealth of problems, largely that we can't avoid because they fall within the engine, such as when, obviously, I think people remember good old Dyden losing his divine under a stack of them, or a lot of people losing items when more than 2,000 items appear on a single map square. A lot of that is largely unavoidable, and I think, given that it's a lot easier to die in Old School RuneScape than it is in RS3, we're seeing those problems crop up an awful lot more, and making them even more unavoidable. So I'm not. I don't see you want gravestones. I'm seeing a lot of people say no gravestones. I'm with you on that one. I don't want gravestones either. I'm not.
No. Besides, the moment we give you gravestones that protect your items, so you can come back and get them conveniently, people then say, "But could you put it in a more safe place so we don't have to go back into the cave where it was?" Or if we die in a private area, can we make it respawn somewhere convenient? Or how about we just make the gravestone appear in Lumbridge so we don't have to walk so far?
Straight to the bank.
Yeah. Well, at that
Just
point,
protect all items on death all the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Why not? If that's what you want.
Yeah. So no to that one.
Yeah. So Tarzok wants to know, is Kriara and Aviancy for Slayer tasks?
Yes.
Yes, Kriara is, and so are the 3 bodyguards in there with him. Kriara's male, I think.
I was just about to confirm. Kirara is, by the way, male.
There's not a lot of model down there, but we're pretty sure.
There's also not a lot of discussion over whether it's male or female. We've just confirmed it for those people who may be confused.
Yeah, Dan does know how to check these things.
Yeah. Kirara's male. Will there ever be stealing creation? Now, obviously, there's a lot of concern over us giving elevated XP. Even a bonus XP weekend was shot down recently. And if we did stealing creation, that's almost like a permanent bonus XP, really. The minigame itself was quite fun. I quite like the idea of people having to gather items, and you go in there and you'd have to, kill them and whatnot. We could do that with Clan Wars, really. But I think giving people stealing creation, a lot of the people wanting it just simply want volatile items that will give you 2 times the amount of XP, which isn't really in the spirit of Old School, and we're trying to go away from that, the whole throwing XP at you for everything you do and make you have to work for things and value your achievement, as opposed to just you log in and then 10 seconds after being logged in you've gained 500,000 XP. So we're not keen on that.
So no penguin hunts either.
No penguins and no anything.
Fishy Bosnian was asking for 5 and 10 year veteran capes. We're not even a year old yet. So you've got quite a way to go.
Touche. I like that. Well, if you come back in 10 years' time when we're still here,
We could do a 1 year cape.
we could. Oh yeah, we could do a 1 year cape. Celebrate the birthday.
What have you got? Oh, Control224 wants to ask about the God Wars pets again. Well, we did poll the God Wars pets, and they didn't pass. There's a few reasons there. Some people were concerned that they'd be spamming all over the place, and we tried to make it clear that we were going to make sure they didn't do that. We're also going to make them very rare, so that they didn't even appear very often. So, nevertheless, people remained concerned. There's also a certain amount of backlash about whether they were going to occupy a slot on the drop table and make other loots less common. Again, they weren't, but people remained concerned. We're still as capable of doing God Wars pets as we ever were, but and if we had a strong reason, it would be possible to repoll them. But we're not in the habit of just repolling every single thing that didn't pass, just on a whim. We'd need a reason.
Speaking of which, RSNJ3 was asking about repolling the middle mouse button. Do you want to take that one?
Sure. Now, when we polled it before, firstly, people seemed to be under the impression that it was going to make the arrow keys stop working, so that you'd have to use the middle mouse button to rotate the camera. And wow, I haven't got a middle mouse button, I'm going to be stuck, I'm voting no. We weren't going to do that. The arrow keys were going to keep working exactly as they ever had done. The middle mouse button would just be an optional extra way. Now, there's also people who like to click with the middle mouse button. Just instead of clicking with left click or right click, they want to use the middle mouse button for that. I don't entirely know why, but there seemed to be enough of them complaining when we broke it in December. We've had it fixed today, by the way. So, as part of that fix, the engine team left us with the ability to toggle it as a middle mouse button, as a camera rotating option, which means that we can give people a middle mouse button to control the camera with a toggle if they prefer not to have that, if they'd rather keep being able to click with it. So we can now offer it in a much better state than we offered before, and we're going to put that on the next poll.
I think there was also a lot of concern when we polled it originally that a lot of the people that were voting on it weren't committed to the old school game, because it was possibly the first thing we ever polled, maybe second.
Second.
Second, there you go. So obviously a lot of people that voted no to it then dropped out of the game, leaving the people that did want it in the game, and it probably would have passed. So now that we've come around to that again and we've looked into it, we can possibly look to address the concerns people had, as well as knowing that we already have a dedicated community, we can repoll it, knowing that the people that were voting on it are the people that are concerned by it. So
I've seen a few comments asking when the Nightmare Zone changes are going to happen. The questions will be on the poll next week, and hopefully we'll have a devlog up.
We're going to
tomorrow.
be putting together a blog to let you know what's on that next poll, and we'll give you the blog to read over the weekend and start the voting next week when you've had a chance to give us your feedback and pick up any problems with the questions.
There you go.
someone saying don't add summoning, we're with you on that one.
Fine.
Yep.
Easy.
We're cool with that.
Oh no, I was going to code that next week.
Oh, you're welcome to try. I'm not going to stop you.
I am.
Now that you've said that, I'm going to expect you to do so, and I'm going to.
It's not on my
I'm
PDA.
going to follow up on it. No, it isn't. It can be though.
Now, Chris Boy was asking about ragging. As you'll have seen in the Wilderness Rejuvenation blog, we've got a change to the crystal bow coming through that will hopefully address that quite effectively. There aren't that many other weapons out there that can be used for ragging in quite so effectively as a crystal bow, where it was always obtainable again after death, etc. So hopefully that will address it for the wilderness. That also brings me to the Trident of the Seas, which we've currently got. At the moment you can't use it in PvP, but in the next poll we are likely to offer it so that you can use it in PvP. We've got a choice there. We can offer it for anywhere in the game, like the Wilderness, PvP Worlds, etc., Duel Arena, or we can offer it just for safe mini-games such as Castle Wars and the Tsar Fight Pit, if people would like to be able to use it for those mini-games but don't want it to completely change Wilderness PKing. If we are going to allow it in places like the Wilderness, we are going to have to make sure it doesn't get used badly for ragging in the same way that the Crystal Bow has done. So we're aware we're going to have to give you a solution to that when we write the blog.
The MC YOLO has been saying this for a while, so I want to clear this up very, very quickly for him. Do we ever read account appeals or offence appeals? No, we don't do that at all. We develop the game, we make the game, we work with the community. The player support teams deal with account appeals, so at no point would you ever submit one, would we ever see it?
Actually, I can't see them.
Exactly. So no.
please stop tweeting us.
That one comes through a lot.
Please.
Someone says remove Castle Wars hoods. I'm assuming you mean from the games. So you can equip Barrow's helmets, I'm guessing?
That would be the obvious one.
Yeah. I'd like to do that. RS, we did it recently. I would definitely like to do the same, because it means Barrow sets then have their full effect. However, I'm not keen on doing that without first consulting the Castle Wars clans, who have been very, very helpful to us so far and generally give us the feedback we need to know when we can talk about Castle Wars. I think Mod Pie is part of one of the Castle Wars clans, so every time we ever mention Castle Wars, it's always let's ask him to make sure he's cool with it. I think those clans mainly are CWC and GBU, but yeah, so I'd like to do that as well.
Flip Throw is asking when will Lizard Men with Panther mounts be released? Sorry, Panther mounts be released.
Panzer mounts.
So you confirmed that last week, didn't you?
I confirmed that when I found Lizardmen, I also found a Panther, and then I made the Lizardmen ride the Panther. What it would look like as an actual moving model, I've got no idea. I didn't bother going that far, but we can find out and see what it looks like, I guess.
We'll just not bother and release something that looks half decent.
So Lizardmen then, sorted, confirmed. By John C. Sorted.
Yay.
KazRS says Jag.
We've asked the engine team for it. They've given us to understand that it's not something they're going to be able to just do overnight for us. Sorry.
And I think they're more concerned about other things. Obviously, security is paramount, and they're concerned by that. But I think they'd rather do something better for us, really.
Yes, Jag is maybe not the perfect system even for RS3.
Agility resting.
Nope.
No.
It's a terrible update.
The answer is
Really?
we can. There's we can find animations to reuse for making you sit down. We've now got the engine support that would let us modify your energy recharge rate while you're sitting down. We are, however, aware that there's a lot of people who would not want that update. So I'm not convinced it would pass a poll, to be honest, given how many people like selling energy potions to you and like the fact that they've got their agility to a decent level, so their energy recharge is reasonably fast already. I think agility resting just might not pass.
Although it was suggested that we could add a prayer that you can buy with Marks of Grace that restores your energy at a slightly faster rate.
Yes,
Yeah,
we could do it via a potion or a prayer, and it would actually give more use to agility if you're using your gathering Marks of Grace to sell this stuff.
Yeah.
Miss Tokar says trimmed quest cape. Now, we did poll that originally within Nightmare Zone, I believe.
We did.
And I think there's a lot of concern. People didn't quite understand what the purpose of having a trimmed quest cape was through Nightmare Zone. And
Well, there's two things. Firstly, the stats we offered on it were not suitable. So if we offer it again, it would have different stats, and that might get rid of some of the negativity. Secondly, having it in Nightmare Zone, there was a lot of feeling like, well, why do you want to get a trimmed quest cape from a minigame? That's nothing to do with quests. The thing about that minigame is that's a minigame where you refight all your quest boss monsters. You earned that cape through fighting all those boss monsters and completing all those quests before. So trimming it by going up against those monsters all at once ain't too unreasonable to me. By the way, we don't have to do it from a minigame at all, or from Nightmare Zone. There's been other people suggesting we could do it from achievement diaries instead. I don't personally see why it's got anything to do with achievement diaries, but if that has been a surprisingly popular request, and I wouldn't mind going with it.
hashtag Dragon Claws, hashtag no.
Digsy says we need more uses for tortoise shells. We have an
Yeah, we do,
urgent
don't we?
lack of uses. What would you like them to be used for? Just let us
think
know.
We're
Yeah.
coming close to time now as well, actually, as
We are
signalled by
indeed.
Matt.
Yeah. I'll just take the question about the ZMI because that's been floating up again. Chris Yulo wants to know, could we have the ZMI altar? The answer is yes, we could install that. However, the runecrafting community may or may not thank us if we did. So that's kind of up to you guys. If you really want the ZMI altar, we can give you it. Shouldn't take too long, but we're not sure whether you actually thank us for it at the moment.
I think before we go, it's probably worth reminding everybody that tonight at 8 PM, which is 2 hours from now, we're going to be doing an AMA on the 2007scape Reddit, which is just basically reddit/r or reddit.com/r/2007scape. You can ask us, quite literally, as the title suggests, anything. You can direct it to us as a team or direct it to us individually, or alternatively, you can just tweet us directly. We are at Jagex, Matt K, John C, Reach, and Ash. We get tweeted a lot of questions, and we do tweet a lot back. So tune into the Reddit AMA if you want to ask us a question, or just tweet us. And I guess that's it for us.
Yep.
Well,
See you
thank you
next
very
week.
much for watching.
So this is